Please state your name for the record.
I'm Charlene Kaminsky. I go by Charlie, and my last name is spelled Kaminsky.
And what is your occupation, Ms. Kaminsky?
I am the owner and driver of the best limousine company in town, Quadruple A Luxury Transportation.
And have you ever been to Rock the World, Ms. Kaminsky?
Yes, growing up in Midlands, I am a huge fan of Rock the World, and I really enjoy going to Rock the World in my free time. And since I make a lot of money at my job, I have the extra money to spend there.
You just said you were a limo driver. Have you ever visited Rock the World on official business as a limo driver?
Yes, actually the owner of Rock the World, J.C. Longstreet, used to use my services, but I decline whenever he requests. He tends to cut out on my tip, and I don't have time for people who treat me that way.
And have you ever had any additional work from Rock the World?
Yes, actually one time I had a conversation with the person working at Ticket Booth, and I ended up leaving my business cards there, and that's really helped out my business.
And who was that person that you left the business cards with?
It was the person working the Ticket Booth one of the days I attended. His name was Cameron, and I paid in cash. As always, I only carry cash. And I noticed when I handed Cameron the cash, he had slipped some of the money and put it in a different place besides the register, which of course confused me being an entrepreneur.
Now, Ms. Kaminsky, were you at Rock the World on August 30th?
Yes, I actually was. Like I said, I attend Rock the World all of the time, one of my favorite places. And I actually had received a text that day saying to meet a client about a mile away from Rock the World.
And what did this text say?
The text was along the lines of, pick me up at a grocery store about a mile away. So I responded saying, who is this and what time would you like to meet? The text back said something along the lines of, I will pay you $300 in cash and I will text you about 20 minutes before your services are needed.
Okay, and then did this client ever show up?
Yes, I was waiting around the amusement park all day, enjoying myself, and I kind of thought maybe it was a little bit sketchy, but I can't say no to $300, so I waited around the road rides all day. Eventually, I did get another text 15 minutes before the park closed, and I left immediately.
Where did you go?
On my way out, I noticed that there was some commotion, and the Cameron person, someone who looked like the Cameron person from earlier, was running away, and that really, from security, and that really surprised me. But I didn't really have time to stop and think about it because I did have a client. So I got in my limo and drove to the grocery store and waited.
And when you got there, did your client ever appear?
Yes, at first I wasn't really sure what would happen. No one was waiting there. But then I saw Cameron walk out of the woods, walk into the grocery store, and approach my limo. And I explained to Cameron I had a client waiting. Cameron gave me $300 and said that Cameron was the client.
Did Cameron do anything once Cameron entered your limo?
Yes, Cameron asked me to put down the privacy screen in the limo. And after the events I saw earlier, I was a little bit suspicious, so I did leave the speaker option on in the car.
And did you observe anything at that point?
Yes, I overheard two conversations on the phone. The first conversation sounded like it was with a park employee regarding, I could call it kind of like a crime. I felt uncomfortable listening to the conversation. And the second conversation seemed, this one was not on speaker, so I could not hear the person on the other end. But from what I could hear, it sounded like he tricked another employee into helping the crime, and that Cameron was going to flee and then eventually meet up at a bar, and there was really nothing to worry about.
Objection, Your Honor, speculation.
Speculation to what, Your Honor?
To her saying that she thinks she heard Cameron Poole saying to her saying she thinks she heard Cameron Poole trick another client into helping with something.
Your Honor, this isn't speculation because these opinions that she's basing off are hearsay, which I have an exception to. And so she's making conclusions based on statements that she had heard.
Do you have a response?
My argument is speculation, not hearsay. The witness that she thinks she heard Cameron Poole saying I'm sorry, the witness said she heard Cameron Poole saying that he tricked someone into doing something at Rockton Road. It's not hearsay, it's speculation. He's arguing hearsay.
Again, she's making conclusions based on statements that she had heard. That is why it's not speculation. She's not making any unreasonable opinions that any other person would make, given the statements that she had heard.
I agree. I'm gonna overrule you. She is testifying to what she heard someone else say.
Thank you.
So the question, Ms. Kaminsky, was what was the contents of the second phone call?
So the second phone call was between a person who I was not aware of because the speakerphone option was not on anymore. And I felt uncomfortable listening to the phone call. It was something along the lines of, you don't have to worry about Whit. I took care of things with Whit, tricked Whit, and I will flee, and I will eventually meet you at a bar. And that's when I stopped listening to the conversation because I felt extremely uncomfortable.
So where did you end up taking Mr. Poole?
I ended up dropping Cameron a few minutes later at Midlands Marina, and at that point, Cameron handed me another $500 in cash, not to repeat that I had transported him there.
Thank you, Ms. Kaminsky. Your Honor, no further questions.